Yeah, Derby Phantoms, I think they're sitting 6th or 7th of the table. They've been unfortunate in some of their games where they've really pushed some of the top teams in these leagues and just not been able to convert the close matches they've had into wins. This is a game they're definitely going to be targeting to get a decent score difference on, I believe, with Coventry sitting either bottom. I don't know where they're sitting at. They might be 7th. I might be wrong with all of this. But Coventry sitting in that lower 3 teams, kind of in that low, potentially relegation table. So Coventry are needing the wins where they can. But we shall see how it goes. We're just pulling the team up.
The Derby Phantoms in 6th. Silverbacks are actually in 8th. Coventry Silverbacks, and that's a good trade early on. Obviously, Dom Smith heads out, but Silverbacks are actually that one player up. So the equal trade there actually turns into a +1 on their side. Obviously, Bell on the left side there, coming from that junior side of Dodgeball, now joins Derby Phantoms.
Stormed onto the scene, had some great performances in the first half of the season, has continued his form all throughout, showing how he's one of the best up-and-coming players in the sport at the moment.
Oh, and a great pressure. Bell tries to apply that pressure, but he's sort of caught standing on that one leg.
Tapping and Matt Jackson, who has recently come up from their 2s. Good 1-for-1 there by Simons. Oh, Woods not quite making the catch. Chandler coming forward, faking out tapping. Not going to risk the easy single catch when they have 4 balls. And tapping makes the catch. Taylor not quite happy with Chandler. Taylor on target, but Chandler just sailing over to the left of tapping. Tapping's called invalid, but is not listening to the refs. The line ref right next to him, or right next to where the ball went, sorry, calling it an invalid. Chandler versus Ellis.
About 6 seconds left, I believe, so probably both teams would somewhat be happy for a draw. Oh, longer than 6 seconds, sorry, that's what it sounded like from way back here.
Low dodge there from Chandler. Pete was my mentor in my first year of uni.
Interesting.
Still around this place. Obviously playing for Coventry, still around the area.
So you went to the University of Coventry?
I went to the University of Warwick, which is in Coventry.
Okay.
But he was an okay mentor. I'm not sure he'd mind me saying that. Woods coming forward with the aggressive quick start. Smith making the block.
Yeah, one of those. Smith, obviously a very agile player. He loves to play around that neutral zone. He'll always take that early trade. He's one of those players that will take that, and Simmons hit out
on the trade there,
yeah,
giving Coventry still a 1-man advantage, hitting out, tapping on the standing counter. Taylor not making the catch on that delayed ball.
He set himself perfectly for it, and sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. You've set yourself for that right ball, but when they come in swinging or they come from a different angle, you've not quite set yourself perfect for that one.
Very true. Great dodge there by Dom Smith, hitting his knees quite hard without those knee pads.
I don't get how players do it.
I don't wear any knee pads anymore.
Really?
Can't be bothered. I think that's a bit cheeky by Smith there. as he
He's
was hit.
thrown way after.
Hit very much before his motion even started, which is why there's a bit of confusion. Because, yeah, a bit of confusion there as Jack Lech didn't know if he was hit by Smith.
I think that's always the hardest thing as well, because although Dom Smith's ball does hit him, you could always argue that you were distracted by that ball that should never have been thrown anyway.
Yeah, it's a very tough situation, a weird situation, because it does influence play, and a player influencing play like that and then calling himself out, it's always a tough one for the refs to ascertain.
And a blue card.
He has been blue carded, which I think is completely reasonable there.
Yeah, correct call, I'd say. And he knows himself that he probably shouldn't have done it. That's probably why he then, when he heads off court, he's probably a bit disappointed in himself.
Yeah, he knows no argument there from Smith. We'll see what Coventry can do with the player advantage for the rest of this set and the next one. I'm always a big fan of refs bringing the cards out a bit earlier, because it sets a precedent for the rest of the game that hopefully players will...
Yeah, it stops any sort of tomfoolery, you know.
Yes.
What we were always told was the rule book was your warning. You know, you don't need to be given warnings. Your warning is reading the rule book and knowing the rules.
So, good standing counter there by, I believe, Dan Moore.
Oh, but as Dan Moore sets himself, that Bell throw comes in perfectly.
Very good shot there by Bell. Cleaning out that set. Phantom starting with 5 players as they have Dom Smith in the box.
So Silverbacks really need to be taking this set. Something that I guess isn't spoke about as much, that when you have those 5 players, it's the mentality that sometimes actually wins you that set. You know, you're down, so you try to play that slight more aggressive, because even if you lose the set, you've lost with 5 anyway.
That's true. I think 3 minutes is an awful long time to play dodgeball as well. So Derby have the opportunities, and they will have the opportunities to actually win the game if they really try to. A great shot there by Ryan Ellis on George Wood. Just keeping that player advantage. With the 5 players.
Like you said, that player advantage is so clinical, because then if you're making the trades, if you make the trades to the end, you end up winning the set anyway.
Very good hit there.
Yeah.
By Tom Bell on Alex Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor doesn't actually find the trade that he wants. You see, he does throw early because he's looking for that single ball trade.
Very aggressive single ball hit there on Jackson.
Oh, Simmons does not pick up the single ball that's come right at him, and he'd be so annoyed with himself because he loves taking that trade time and time again. He takes that single ball catch that's right at him.
Very central. Just suck it in and take it, but quite managed on this occasion. Kind of tweaking his ankle there as he goes backwards, trying to get that opportunistic hit. He makes the catch, but hit by the 2 balls beforehand. To be a great set for Phantoms to win, even with that player disadvantage at the beginning, have the momentum moving back, and then have 6 players in the next game, the next set, sorry.
Yep, bounce first, called by all refs.
Bounce called there by the line ref, sorry.
But play 2 is going to be called. He's going to have to aggressively rush it. There was less than 5 seconds, so Phantoms don't actually have to play on that. And they take the set despite being a player down.
Chandler trying to make that last ditch hit, but not quite managing to convert. Now Derby with their full complement of players now, and gaining those points from that set. But the refs have come in and they're having a conversation about something. Unsure of what that is. Can't quite read lips as much as I'd like to be able to. Bell almost making the hit off the quick start from Simmons.
And Phantoms are normally so good at that. We haven't quite seen it that much today, but their quick start normally catches a lot of team off guard.
That's true. Coventry giving away 5 balls for the first time, well, second time in this game. Phantoms just managing to get 1 ball back from that 5 ball attack, throwing 3 at the 1 target and then 2, a follow-up 2 on the inner target as well.
The block does come first, but Simmons has already thrown. Bell end up getting hit out of that, so Silverbacks actually clinical to actually take one out there despite the miscommunication from the 4 balls that they had previously.
A safe shot there from Jackson at the ball holder.
It's simple but probably defensive single. Oh wow! Well, that you hate to see those, and it's so hard as a player because you've set. You're not setting, I guess, because you're not at the forefront, but you're sort of on the backtrack behind the player that if that ball does sort of go wide, you take the catch. I think Simmons is probably half a second too late to it though.
Yeah, he's seen it. I think he's seen it just coming out the corner of his eye and just not managed to get behind it. 1 for 1 there, a 2 for 1 actually, a catch at the left of court, bringing the set to evens. Coventry with 4 balls.
And Winters so close to the jump, and he actually nearly doesn't land on the line. I think it's like a slight edge back that he's finally called on it. So now Silverbacks up that 1 player. Dom Smith, you crazy man. He's gone for that diving catch, which looks like a slow ball, but it's probably come at a different angle than he expects.
And the movement he's all over that back line. The movement he'd have to do to get his body behind that means that he is hitting the ball, in theory, with his forward momentum, and it just makes that catch even harder to do. You think that Winters probably could have survived there if he just stayed on his toes a bit more?
Yeah.
He stuck his heels down, and Phantom's worst enemy being the back line at the moment, it seems. But Coventry taking their first set of the match. We're unsure at the moment how long is left in this set. Our timer says that we do not have anything left on the half.
It's probably just under a minute.
Yeah, it might be a minute set. Oh, a great catch.
Yeah. He knows tapping's coming at him because he's the only one without a ball on that backtrack. Drops low, takes the single ball.
Substitution here for Phantoms. Dom Smith coming off and being subbed off for Ed Raven, who's just started the game by making a great hit on more.
Probably a slightly more aggressive play style Ed Raven offers. But yeah, that one player up, Phantom, will they look at closing that out into the set? Will they take that 7-3 lead, the 1-for-1 trade, but on opposite players?
Good trade for Phantoms. Keep that one player advantage. He's not managing to make the block there. It's interesting because I've not been following. Oh, great shot there by Ed Raven. I've not been following Silverbacks as much as some of the teams here. I'm unsure how long they've been without Reece Williams.
Apparently he's been away on injury for quite a while.
Yeah, I'm unsure what the injury is or happened there, but he's been around for a while, and that's the set to Phantoms. I think he stepped off.
No, I think he was on backline. Yeah, so this one goes into a 1 minute set. So 7-3 currently to Phantom. This minute set will either push Phantom further ahead, or Silverbacks will look at taking that slight step closer to the scoreline that they'd hope to win by. A double hit from the start. We're only about 10 seconds into it, and Phantoms have lost 2 already.
So it'll be interesting to see, can Coventry now just guide the set out for the minute? It's not like we've seen them play a particularly structured, methodical game as of yet, but let's hope that they can quite manage just to slow the game down so Phantoms don't get the opportunity to claw back either a catch, which would make the game even, or even any hits would make their lives would be preferable.
Oh, wow.
And there you go. There's those 2 very quick, aggressive hits. That's time when they've drawn the set.
What do you need to be looking at? You know, you're facing Silverbacks and the net. You know, what play style do you adopt? Or do you just continue the one you had in the first half?
I think they need to be a bit tighter on possession. I think now is a good idea to look at really stamping their game down on this match, as opposed to not and being like sinking into potentially the chaos that Coventry might bring with them.
And as we say, that more treads on middle line.
Yeah, just
it's that one down that you don't ever want at the start of the set.
So I think just to be able to weather the storm, so to speak, and, as I said, imprint their own game style. That's what I would look for from a Coventry perspective, at least. Derby perspective, sorry.
No, I get that. You're almost forcing the other team to not play their own play style, you know, to adapt to yours rather than sit back and enjoy the ride in their play style as such. It's a big game of almost rock, paper, scissors. The best teams in Super League and across the Women's Super League adapt to their play style, and they have different play styles against different teams.
Good.
It does the Silverbacks' aggressive play style beat the aggressive play style of Phantoms.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. Throwing a lot of standing. That first one wasn't a standing, but a single from the back of court. 2 balls at the second thrower here.
And it is great to see that, you know, the games today are being streamed, and the community, I'm glad, has backed it. It's so appreciative that, you know, people can watch the sport here live and enjoy it from, maybe they can't always make it to the games that they'd like to, and they see a lot broader spectrum of the dodgeball that is available.
George Wood just setting himself there and being hit by a lovely single by Ed Raven.
Set himself a little too early?
Well, way too early. He was down there. Ed puts a lovely ball off target, off centre. George goes for it, not being able to get his body behind it. And I completely agree, Greg. I think the ability to be able to just show the sport in as many different mediums as possible shows to those who are interested in the sport or are half interested in the sport just what it's really about, and just being able to portray it is something we're happy to provide. This set being a little slower than the sets we've seen previously. Both teams playing maybe a bit more conservatively with their throws, not quite as Raven they're showing, not quite going as aggressively with their singles. 5 balls there for Derby. A great 2-ball defence from Ed Raven. And Simon Tapping taking the catch off the rogue ball. I think Coventry...
A miscommunication on the play, and I think Taylor does apologise for that. Yeah. And obviously you do end up losing the set, but as long as Alex Taylor does then also realise that that is his mistake and not the call itself.
Yeah, he may also have been a bit aware that time was so close. I think there was a hold call from Phantoms and we hadn't even got to play ball before time went. The captains have been called in. I'm not sure what for. Doesn't look like anything has particularly happened.
That set obviously then does end up in the favour of Derby Phantoms. I think something to note is that how that first set has just played out, that both teams are very cautious of the play style of the opposing team. That you know, we've played the first half, we've played 15 minutes of dodgeball. These teams are aware that a play style can be so different in the second half, especially when you are changing to the side you're on.
We're unsure if there's been a timeout or it's a ref's timeout.
I think it's a timeout. Yeah, it's
not sure. Yeah. Then I'm not sure who called it. I completely agree with you. I think going on into these next sets, it'll be interesting to see is it going to be played in the same style? Will it continue? We'll just give you an update from the other courts. Wessex 1s versus Storm 1s in the Men's Super League is 6-all. Leeds women against Nighthawks women is, it says 12-5 to Leeds, but that can't be right, so potentially 13-5 or 12-6 or 12-4. And 14-2 to White Tigers against Hartlepool Mavericks. Both of those games being in Women's League One.
Game gets back underway. Silverbacks sort of pulling away from the reach. Still plenty of time left in the second half though. We're just going to have to rely a little on the Silverbacks' pressure and aggressive play style to outplay Phantoms here.
Great defence there by Moore in the middle, using a very good, not quite what you see normally, but utilising his body as a kind of his faking motion, putting his body in a way that makes you look like he's about to sling his release against you, and making some lovely blocks there. Simon's making a hit on Tapping there. Face or feet is what we're told when you're throwing at somebody with a blocking ball. You want to get high over the block or very low under the block.
Especially if you're trying to play aggressive and you're looking at taking the trades. If you're looking defensive, then at ball normally is the case. Silverbacks really haven't been in their catching motion this game. It's normally a team that you look at and go, okay, they're going to take these single ball catches all over. And this game has been Phantoms all over, really. Yeah. They've taken the catches. They've been that more aggressive team that has worked against Silverbacks. And Silverbacks not quite found their rhythm, their momentum, their play style in this game.
An absolutely lovely shot. Bounce being called by all of the refs there. Being called there on Wood from the impromptu 3-ball attack. And quite an aggressive play there from Phantoms. But leaving Coventry with 4 balls. or making the catch there, as the entirety of the Phantoms team ran forward. Quite an imposing sight, I would say, as you're going to make that catch. Luckily, nothing happened in the neutral zone, because that could have been quite messy.
I think Phantoms probably ease off the pedal a little, knowing that if they then charge into it, although it's on Silverback's side, Phantoms are probably the ones that get carded in that play, because you're aggressing onto not your side of play. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. I would say that, and that set ending very quickly, a hit there on Chandler and Lech being caught out by Ryan Ellis. I think I'd agree with more running sideways across court to make it. He, in theory, is putting no one in danger there, because he isn't running into a team. He may run into a ref, but I think a ref could have the wherewithal to get out of the way. But with all the Phantoms men running forwards, that is then putting other players at risk, because you're running onto and into the court.
An early hit out for Phantoms does put them that one behind. Silverbacks really have to put everything on the line here. It's a big, high risk, high reward that you're going to have to play in this game now. They're going to have to do everything and everything right to actually win this game. It's such a huge turnaround. It's 4 sets altogether.
And it looks like Phantoms are doing a great job of stemming really any attack. Coventry are coming forward, getting hit by standings. Phantoms have got their catching shoes on and their catching gloves, and it's just really, as I said, stemming the flow and not allowing Coventry to do anything. They may be making hits at the back of court, but it's very tough to be in those positions and really rake games back if you can't get into the flow of things and can't get any momentum.
Phantoms, although they're that player down, will happily play that slower game. You know, they don't need to force any free throws. They sit back, they let Silverbacks throw at them, you dodge out the way, you go forward with a 3, you play a slow 3.
Got with their 8-point advantage. I'm not sure what timeout's been called for. I think
Simon Tapping was tying his shoelaces. Safety first.
Of course.
Ed Raven, though, caught with that cross court from Taylor. Oh, and Taylor drops the one that he set himself perfectly. Silverbacks, in every catch that they've dropped, they've set themselves perfect every time. They've just not got hands around it.
Yeah, they really are paying enough attention to get themselves there, but just not converting it quite as much as they maybe want to. Ryan Ellis here.
A fake finish call there, which is obviously they put the dummy in. Ellis drops the ball that he does have in his hands and then has to dodge out the way of. And now he's got a
lovely job there by
really
Ryan
nice.
Ellis there, but cleaned up nicely by Coventry just to secure that set. You can tell that Ryan's one of those players that wants to go on the counter, and even with that fake call, it didn't look like he was going to drop or throw or catch. He was going to hit them hard after they'd thrown. Good, quick, and very good quick start there.
And a great start from Silverbacks. They get that centre ball that we are so used to Phantoms. I don't know if there's an injury from their centre runner.
Well, I think their centre runner is subbing at the moment. He's ball retrieving. Robbie Winters being one of the fastest men in Super League to that middle ball. But the return shot comes across to even up the score, or even up the men in the set, sorry. That up,
and he baits him in perfectly. Ellis looks like he's got a 3 shot. Simmons sets himself that time around and takes the catch. but does not dodge out the way of that, and Dom Smith does not get hands on. Timmons does everything right in that first part of the set. This time around, goes for maybe a slightly lazier dodge than usual.
Yeah.
Hits the back end of him and flies off court. Silverbacks do claw back the set though, and it's now 12-8. They've won the last two.
They have, and there is enough time for them in the grand scheme of this game to bring back both sets. We will have at least 2 sets, we think, in this game. Once again, our timing isn't, we don't have a direct line to the refs, so it's always a bit, can be a few seconds here or there. A great catch at the beginning. Not that much of an issue as far as set goes. Catch there just takes a player out. Obviously didn't have any players in the outbox, so no one comes back in.
And you can see there, Phantoms do take that. Oh, and oh.
No.
Hits the ground first. But a good follow-up by MJ from that.
Yeah, 100%. Making a great trade just to keep the players even though Coventry did lose 2.
Now you give Phantoms that 4-ball attack. Are they going to be clinical this time around? And they are.
Ball's coming up to us in the Coventry box. Not quite as far as us, luckily.
Happy with a single ball. Taylor returns, but a nice simple block from Bell in that neutral area.
Good 1-for-1 there.
Actually a 2-for-1 because there's a return the other side, and Phantoms do outlive Silverbacks. They're now that 3-1 advantage in the set. It's that slow play style that Phantoms are now starting to adopt to fast out that game. They don't need to close out the set in any means.
Phantoms not looking to give away any
silly
catches here. They just want to close out this set. Alex Taylor being on the line. Just as he sets himself there. Our clock, just over 2 minutes, probably 2 minutes when this set starts. Phantoms look to have it at the moment.
Be a slight confusion there on the starting lineup from Silverback, so all 6 do start.
I think it was on both sides. I think as the starting whistle was called on this court, the end whistle was called on another court.
Oh, okay.
So there were multiple whistles being heard. You can see a few of the players kind of pulled themselves up and a few of them didn't. So it's an interesting one there, but no issues across the board. All 12 players starting on court.
They'd have to be closing sets out very quickly, Silverbacks, to edge themselves into this game, and the cross court from Ed Raven. I think the call there that he's hit out before, so he's been hit fully and he's an out player before he releases his ball. That ball is then not a live one because you're already out.
Yes, similar to what Dom Smith did in that first or second set.
Yeah.
Because the player's already out. The shot there from Lech has a nasty spin on it as it comes in. Ed Raven's setting himself low, but because it's not a straight shot, just pings him on the shoulder and he can't quite get out of the way.
Oh, and Phantoms, all they need to do is reset now. They've got 4 on their side. It's that slow game and the positive trades that has really started to push them out in that second half.
Silverbacks stacking all of their players in the middle, just looking to take as many catches as possible. We have about 10 seconds left on the clock. The refs look like they're wanting to call there. Another trade there for Phantoms, keeping that player advantage up.
And is it the sets thereafter, or are they just after the win?
I think at this stage, because it's so close, they're just looking for the win here. Whistle looks like it's about to be blown, and that's the final whistle.
And the final score?
Score ends at 16-8 to Derby Phantoms.